Hello, my name is Scott, and I wanted to share my story about mental illness. I've been dealing with it most of my life, and I started going to counseling for it at a pretty early age. I also started taking medication when I was in my early 20s. I knew that I had a problem that was greater than myself, and I couldn't deal with it on my own, so I reached out and sought help for it. And just remember that, just keep this in mind, there's nothing wrong with doing that. You're no less of a person for admitting that you have a problem that you need help with. It's not a sign of weakness to admit that. It's actually a sign of strength. I know that if I hadn't have sought help for my problem, I wouldn't be here today. And as far as my life experiences, I lost my mom to cancer at a very early age. You can imagine as a teenager not having a nurturing parent in your life. That definitely has an impact on you. It certainly did with me. I did not have a very good relationship with the other members of my immediate family. I also had a real problem with being picked on in elementary school and in middle school. In middle school, I had a bad weight problem, and I got picked on a lot for that. And just bullies seemed to love me. I was popular with them. By the time I got to high school, I had lost a lot of weight, but I started having problems at home when my mother's health began to deteriorate, and I didn't have the best relationship with my younger sister or my dad. I had a lot of self-esteem issues, and I still do even now, but these last 10 years in particular have been difficult because I went through a divorce and had to see my now former wife go through a very difficult health problem. I also got condemned by my church at the time. They accused me of trying to abandon my wife, which was not true. The split with my wife was a mutual decision. But those kinds of things took their toll. I just, these last 10 years in particular have been difficult just because at one point in time I really relied on my faith to get me through. And when my former church did what they did to me, that had an ugly effect on me. And I'm still, to this day, trying to overcome those things. But what matters is that I'm still here. I'm still here fighting the fight and trying to get my life back into some kind of working order. But I just wanted to emphasize, seeking help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. Nobody will think any less of you for getting help. It's okay. So don't let it discourage you. Don't let life get the upper hand. When I went back to school as a non-traditional student several years ago to get a degree in meteorology, and pretty sad story. I heard there was a meteorologist in Detroit, Michigan, who worked for the Fox affiliate up there. Her name was Jessica Starr. She killed herself. She was only 35 years old, and she left behind a husband and two young kids, and I was thinking to myself, that's just awful. I mean, when you do something like that, you hurt more than just yourself. You hurt the people you leave behind. And I can only imagine what her family and what her friends are going through. At first it was sadness that I'm sure they experienced, but then later on, chances are it was anger over what she did. The ripple effect that doing something like that creates when you take your own life. Please don't look at that as a solution. It's not. There's nothing wrong with reaching out for help. I know that if I didn't, I probably wouldn't be here today. It's not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. Just remember that. I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm still here to continue trying to make something of my life, and I'm working on that. Don't be discouraged. If you have a problem that you feel is larger than yourself, reach out for help. Nobody will think any less of you for it. That's what I would encourage all of you to do today. Thank you for your time.